Hey guys, this is the Gaming Empire here, and I'm playing Kirby's Return to Dreamland on the Nintendo Wii. A little bit of a different game for you guys today. Definitely not, one of the most popular or common games out there, but it's got some pretty interesting, fun multiplayer action. I'm playing with 3 of my other friends here, and they let you choose between Kirby, Waddle Dee, King Dedede, and Meta Knight. You can also choose multiple Kirbys if everybody wanted to be Kirby. But we thought it would be more fun for just to be one original Kirby and everybody use a different character. The backstory to this game is basically this alien crash lands and his ship breaks and he loses all his parts, his wings and his engine and stuff like that. And Kirby and his friends volunteer to help the alien get the parts back to his ship. Presumably so he can return to Dreamland. So that is what we are doing here right now. We're on one of the levels. This is one of their sand levels. And we are just getting through the game to get the part to his ship. At the end of every level, you get a piece of the ship. Or not every, and the end of every, not every level, but like there's a couple levels in each arc. And once you beat all the levels in that arc and beat the boss, you get a piece of the ship. You also collect these little wheel piece things throughout the game. You'll see them up in the top left corner, and there's one right there now on the screen that we're going to get. We actually mess up when we go back. Basically those are more power for the ship, and they unlock little mini games and stuff like that. There's quite a bit of them, but more importantly are getting the special pieces at the end of every arc. So basically it's a pretty fun game. It's not too challenging. It's quite easy. You get unlimited jumps, so everyone can pretty much just fly in the game. So it's very hard to die. There's a lot of health that goes throughout the game. So not quite challenging, but pretty fun, especially when you have a couple of guys. It's very entertaining. Especially even if you're not Kirby. I mean, Kirby, of course, can swallow different enemies and gets a whole bunch of different unique powers. But other people in the game have quite a couple of good powers as well. One of the interesting things in this game is you can see every now and then you'll see someone jump on someone's back. They actually let you ride on someone's back. While you're riding on someone's back, you don't have the ability to do anything, but that other person still has their full, complete mobility. So just a little fun thing if you don't feel like moving around at the time. You can just pretty much relax on someone's back while they do all the work. And what you saw right there, when one character gets food, it heals you a little bit, and you actually can go near another player, and it seems what it's like is actually that you kiss them, and you transfer that health over to them as well. So pretty much every time you get food, you kiss everyone and they recover. Not sure why, but that's pretty much what happens. Kirby's also the main character in the game, so Kirby cannot die. Everybody else can die, or everybody else can go off screen and they will teleport back to Kirby. You see more kissing going on there. We got another wheel for the power to the ship. But yeah, so Kirby's the most important character. You don't want Kirby to die. Pretty much Kirby's power, when he's doesn't have anything, he pretty much just floats around and puffs out air and swallows things. He has a regular swallow and a super swallow for when he's swallowing larger targets. And pretty much similar to the older Kirby games, he gets hurt, he loses his power thing, and he has to pick it up. Right there you see there's some powers that are just sitting there. That Kirby can also pick up without defeating an enemy. He just swapped into Magic Kirby right now. Pretty cool. A lot of the Kirby powers are really cool in this game. And this is a mini boss battle right here. And the bosses in this game aren't too challenging either, especially when you have a lot of different people. You see everyone pretty much just keeps hammering away at him. Waddle Dee does this really cool thing where he can fly around with his spear. It's pretty cool. Does a lot of damage. He's actually one of my favorite characters. Waddle Dee has this long spear, and he has a lot of cool techniques with it where he can throw the spear, he can charge it and throw multiple spears at once, he can twirl his spear around and fly for a brief period of time, hurting any enemy that is near him. And he can fly too, oddly enough. Actually, it's more like multiple jumps, but it's pretty cool. King Dedede's, you know, pretty self-explanatory. He has his hammer. He hits a lot of people with that. He can charge up some pretty powerful hammer throws. Meta Knight actually is a lot like he is in Super Smash Brothers. He's a lot of the same moves with his sword. Pretty cool. As you can see now, we got Water Kirby going on, and Water Kirby is pretty much, you know, he can put out fire and stuff. They have a lot of little interesting things like this in the game where you have to make sure you're a certain Kirby power to complete the task. As you see, he's putting out the fire so he can get to the hot dog beneath it. And then everyone will use that hot dog to heal, as you can see. Yeah, so like I said, guys, it's a pretty fun, entertaining game. You have a couple of people, a lot of little things like that where you have to go through and find things. Like there's a 1-up we just found. Some characters can only get through certain places, so it's good to have a team of well-rounded people. I've been in some situations where we specifically needed King Dedede's hammer to break through certain things. You saw right there, Waddle Dee threw his spear, and then he did a little, everyone has a little down spike attack when they're in the air. So, you know, pretty cool with that. And there's just a lot of interesting levels in the game. And a lot of interesting powers. All the characters have many, you know, different combinations of powers than I described, you know, especially Kirby when he is using his different forms. And you see they also can carry the powers and things like that. Kirby can actually swallow his fellow teammates as well. You know, not really too useful, but something he can do. He can pretty much swallow everything. As you can see there, another example of everyone riding on someone's back. King Dedede died there. He took the hit for the rest of the team. So not always the best idea to ride on someone's back, but it is there if you need it. Also, another interesting thing, when someone is flying, you can grab onto their feet and kind of fly with them. But once you land, of course, that person does fall off. But just another interesting part of the game. And there's other little mini things too, like this crystal Waddle Dee's holding right now. It makes him invisible and allows him to pass through certain surfaces, like you'll see up ahead. This is that little crystal structure, something he can only walk through because he's holding that gem. And as you saw earlier, he was carrying a candle to get to the dark, and way back in the beginning, I believe it was Waddle Dee, no, not Waddle Dee, King Dedede, who was carrying the key to open the door. So you'll see many little things like that as the game goes throughout. This part here, actually, we needed a crystal to get through, but the crystal had worn off. It had either worn off or we couldn't transport it with us. So we could not figure out how to get through there, and we gave up on that, and we just continued through the game. Accidentally went back right there. That's what happens when you play with 4 people. Things just, you know, happen sometimes. So, the levels in this game are pretty, you know, long levels. If you guys have ever played the Kirby for the 64, I believe it was Kirby and the Crystal Shard, something like that. The game is very similar to that game, you know, minus except the fact that this is multiplayer. And Kirby really only can absorb one enemy at a time. It's not like the old one where he could absorb 2 enemies and combine their powers. But there are special larger enemies that Kirby can absorb. And like this guy, for example, he is one of the stronger enemies that Kirby has to use his special, more powerful sucking power. And he kind of turns into like this Ultra form. This one's Ultra Sword Kirby. And every time Ultra Sword Kirby attacks, it's like this massive attack that just obliterates everything on the screen. And there's many other Kirby powers like that. There's a fire one, I believe there's an ice one. There's many Ultra Kirby powers. And you see every time he swipes, it's a different sword. And he has a little, you know, gauge there that shows how much time he has left with this power. So pretty much when you get one of these Ultra powers, you pretty much just go through, you know, obliterating everything. You know, there will be parts in the game where, you know, there will be a lot of enemies like this or obstacles to get through. But Kirby will just go right through all of them. You know, again, one of the parts of the game that is very easy. definitely not too much of a challenge. Although this is only the second arc in the game. We played through the first arc, which was extremely easy. This being the second arc, still very easy. Maybe it will get more challenging towards the end of the game, but so far, it's quite easy. But fun, again, you know, when you're playing with 4 different friends, pretty much any game is fun. And this is one of the funnest multiplayer games I have played. You know, kind of like Mario a little bit, but not quite as difficult, being the unlimited jumps and all the powers and everything like that. So if you're looking for just a fun little game to play with friends and you're not looking for too much of a challenge, this is definitely a game I would recommend picking up.